Hey, look what I can do. I can literally go and build a building that's 100 stories high. You need an ego, and I'm ego-driven and ego-fueled, and I don't let it control me, but satisfying my ego makes me happy, and feeling pride makes me happy.
How do you prevent the ego to sabotage you?
Well, the ego sabotages you when you allow it to delude you.
Andrew Tate gets straight to the point about ego, saying it's a big part of what drives him to do amazing things. In this talk, he shares that having an ego isn't always bad. According to Tate, it's ego that has pushed men to do incredible things like building cities or exploring new lands. He's not shy about saying that ego helps him feel good about his achievements, and that it's essential for anyone who wants to reach big goals.
And this is what a lot of people do, because they'll have an ego without the real world accomplishments, and then they become deluded, and then they become non-competitive. To remain effective, you need to be very firmly in the real world. I have a massive ego, but I'm also a realist. I know what I'm good at, I know what I'm bad at. I don't apologize ever for saying what I'm good at, and I will sit here and admit the things I cannot do. But as long as you have feedback that you're going to take on board, and you have a good team around you, and you're also self-analyzing all the time, then you can remain a realist and an egotist, and then I think you'll do very well. The masculine ego has built the entire world. It's the reason nearly every single man ever went to war and conquered anything. The masculine ego, in fact, it's very interesting. I was talking to a girl the other day. I was saying that men crave adventure more than women. She was saying, oh no, I like adventure. I don't just want to sit at home. I like to go out and explore things and go to restaurants, etc. I said, no. What you like to do is run around, go into restaurants and going shopping. You call that an adventure. Masculine adventure is the men who decided to go to Antarctica and freeze to death. There's no shopping, there's no sushi. They just felt like they had to do it to satisfy their ego and to place their names in the history books.
True.
So there's something inside of every man that feels that, and they try and breed it out of men because they're afraid of that masculine spirit, because that masculine spirit is hard to conquer, and they want to conquer us all. But I have no problems admitting that I am motivated by the dark of the yin and the yang, and I have no problems admitting that my ego motivates me, and that I'm motivated by pride, and I like to feel proud, and I do things that allow me to feel proud. And as long as I stay realistic and I don't become egocentric, then I feel like it makes me as competitive as possible.
So you keep upskilling yourself?
Well, you have to always push the limits, right? What's the point in living otherwise?
What are you doing right now to just keep yourself up?
Well, this is the thing. It's in general. It doesn't matter if you go to the gym and you try and lift more weights. It doesn't matter if you try and make more money that you can't possibly spend.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you need more beautiful children. You always need something to do, right? And you always need somewhere to push. They say when you retire, you die. I would argue that's probably true. Or sharks die.
No, that's true. That is true.
Yeah, of course it's true.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of men out there who perhaps are battling with themselves because the matrix and system has told them, no, you're not supposed to think that way. You're not supposed to be that way. You're egotistical. You're driven by pride. You should get rid of all that. And you should, I don't know what, become soppy goo instead. Just some porridge mess that the matrix can program. But no, you're supposed to wake up and look in the mirror and say, this is my name. This is who I am. I'm going to be the best version of myself. And everybody's going to respect me. And I'm going to force them to, because that's the way the world works. Respect can be squeezed out of people. They don't have to like you. You can't squeeze someone liking you. You can't grab space-time from the universe and force everybody to like you. But you can force everybody to respect you, whether they want to or not. All of my haters respect me. They sit there, this guy's so bad, so bad, so bad. But they can't say I'm unsuccessful. They can't say I'm not intelligent. They can't say I'm not rich. I'm still worthy of all their time and attention. They've dedicated their lives to me, so I've forced them to respect me. If I was a nobody, then they wouldn't be reporting on this garbage case of mine. So you can force respect from people, and this is actually most observable with women. There's a whole lot of women who are dating men they don't even like.
Yeah.
And they're sleeping with men they don't even like, but they respect him.
Because it's the security that they offer, right?
That's right. The security they offer and the respect. And they can say, I don't even like him that much. In fact, I hate him, but I just do as he says. Why is that? Because they respect you. So I'm driven by that. And I guess, I've talked to psychiatrists, and there's some psychiatrists who would argue that it's insecurity to feel like you need to prove yourself to the world all the time. And I think that's part of the psyop. They convince you, you're insecure if you want to prove you're capable. If you want to prove that you're different and intelligent and interesting, you're insecure.
They always say that you're born abundant any which ways, then why is the rest of the world poor?
Well, there you go. But they say you should have no interest in what people think about you. That makes you insecure. And that is the largest psyop in history. To wake up and say, I'm not going to be successful. I'm not going to be strong. I'm not going to be interesting. I'm not going to go out there and test myself. And I'm not going to put honor on my last name, because I would hate for people to think I'm insecure. I'm secure, so it doesn't matter if you think I'm a loser. And it doesn't matter if I am a loser. So I'm just going to sit at home and I'm secure. No, it's not insecurity. It's called duty to your last name and honor. And that's just another one of the many different tentacles inside of the psyop octopus, trying to snatch any motivation left from the masculine spirit. If I was a man who was unsuccessful and I hadn't met my physical capability or my financial capability or my mental capability or my spiritual capability, I would be insecure. I would sit and say, this is a failed version of who Andrew Tate could be, and I'm not happy with who it is. And I think that every man should be like that, so he gets up off his ass and does something.
But how do you have such incredible self-worth? Obviously it was instilled within you because we are the sum total of our parents, right? In the first 7 years of our life.
I think so, yes, but also competence is confidence. I think they go hand in hand. You're going to be confident in doing things you're good at. And I understood I had to get good at things from a very young age. And I was challenged from a very young age to constantly test myself in endless competition. My whole life has been competition.
Correct.
It was chess tournaments from a very young age.
Yeah.
And then it was professional fighting. My whole life's been a massive competition.
Right.
And I understood that there's winners and losers. And that's how the world operates. To this day, right now, it's the same thing. And you just get good at the idea of competition. I think there's a lot of people out here who don't realize they're in a fight, or they know they're in a fight, but they want to ignore the fact they're in a fight, because they don't want to have to accept that they're losing. So they wake up and say, oh, I'm just a man living life.
Bro, they're too comfortable.
They're too comfortable. No, you're not.
I was 140 kilos myself. Like, I was a really fat kid.
Yeah.
You know, I lost all that weight, but of course, I started abusing steroids at that point of time. I got hooked onto drugs.
Yeah.
That is something that I didn't want to do, but that's what I thought I needed that external validation in my life.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
Right? I was always trying to be somebody that the world was trying to dictate who I should be.
Yeah.
But I had an awakening of sorts myself.
Okay.
And it was fairly recent, and I just transformed into another version of myself where I was able to actually see that this is how this version of me will sabotage a perfectly good situation.
Yeah.
I had to sit and discipline myself. I had to be an older brother to my younger self.
Yeah.
I had to do that all the time. I had to become a future version of myself in the present moment by offering gratitude for already becoming who I always knew I could be.
Yep. But what's very interesting is all those bad things you just talked about, the bad experiences, you wouldn't have been able to self-educate without the bad experiences.
Experience.
You need the bad things also, just as we talked about earlier about haters, and you need the light and the dark and the yin and the yang, thousands of years old. You need the two. This is what's very interesting. The point you made is very, very, very pertinent. There's a lot of people who complain about the bad things that happen in their life, not understanding that without the bad things, you'd have no life at all. You need all of the bad things. You need the mental struggle. You need to go through things which you regret. You need to sit there so that if you've never regretted any action you've ever taken, how can you sit and make a intelligent decision for the future? You can't do it.
Yeah.
You need to sit and say, well, I felt the sting of regret for X. I don't want to feel the sting of regret for Y. You need this experience, and that's what life is all about. People think that life is just the good times, and this is the massive misconception. Love is a perfect example. Let's use love. Because people think being in love is holding hands and I hold hands and we cuddle in bed, I love them. Love is the whole spectrum. Love is missing them. Love is breaking up with them. Love is being sad they don't text you. Love is the whole circle. There's no up without down. Anything that has the ability to emotionally affect you positively has the ability to emotionally affect you negatively. There's nothing in the world that can only affect you in one direction. Even something as asinine and stupid as an object. We'll go back to cars because I used it earlier. If I buy a car for €6 million and it makes me very happy, if that car sets on fire at random, I'm going to be extremely angry. This is what happens. If it's a Nissan, it won't make me happy, but if it sets on fire, I won't be sad. They're directly correlated. Anything in the world that makes you happy that you currently have, whether it's a person, whether it's a job, whether it's a scenario, whatever it is, also has the exact inverse capability to make you extremely angry. So you have to accept this about
You're
life.
quite detached, man. You're quite detached from everything that you also own. You say you love it, but at the same time, you're okay with letting go.
Well, that's because I think I have confidence in myself to get it all back. And that's also because I have quite a lot of emotional control. And then perhaps, maybe I'm a little bit of a sadist, I don't know. But when bad things happen to me,
You love it.
I kind of enjoy it. And I think that maybe it's perhaps I just enjoy it for the story. Perhaps my whole life is not about trying to find comfort, it's trying to find challenges, and it's trying to find stories. I'll be very honest with you. Even in jail, my brother and I kept saying this is probably the best story, one of our best ever stories. That's what life is about to me. And if you were to say to me right now, Andrew, do you want to spend a year living in comfort and flying around the world and sleeping with girls and doing whatever, or do you want to spend a year in a jail in Mongolia? I'd probably choose the jail. Maybe I'm a sadist. Maybe I'm nuts. But for me, it's all about the challenges. It's not about the comforts. That's what I'm interested in, and I want to have stories to die with. So when bad things happen.
But then what happens to your wife? What happens to your kids?
Well, exactly. That's part of the story.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the best parts.
All right.
What's gonna happen to them?
Yeah, dude.
Maybe will she stay loyal? Of course, I'm the top G. But come on. But what happens to her? What happens to my kid? How much did I miss my child when I couldn't see them? How did they get to Mongolia to even come visit me? Was I allowed visits? What, did I get in a fight in there? Did I die in jail? Who knows? But this is the whole point. Maybe I'm just addicted to the idea of having stories worth telling, because I think if your life just goes well all the time. You know what's really interesting? Because the world's so changed.
Sorry, I'm going to cut you out over here. But have you programmed them?
Have I programmed myself to think that way?
Yeah. Programmed your wives, your kids, that this is the that I'm going to go through right now. You guys better be prepared.
Well, I think anyone who's with me understands that it's a possibility.
Yeah.
There's certainly a chance that something bad can happen at any time. They're very concerned. My woman says to me every single night, like, I hope you wake up tomorrow without a police raid. Like, it's just, who knows, right? It's unpredictable.
It's stressful, dude.
And it's stressful for the woman more than me, because I'm at peace with all of this. In fact, I truly enjoy it. And
throughout his discussion, Tate emphasizes staying realistic. He believes you can be proud of what you do well without being tricked into thinking you're better than you are. His message is clear. Use your ego wisely, keep pushing yourself, and don't be afraid to be proud of what you achieve. This straightforward talk invites us to think about how we see our own ambitions and how we handle our pride in our accomplishments.